Okay, so let's start with like a modest stance, like shoulder width or a little bit less. Yeah, and just start by just rocking to and fro, and just let yourself lean a little bit and just feel that outside edge. And just feel, you want to feel it elastic, rubbery, so you sort of sink into it, and it's got energy, so it springs you back. So your weight loads it with energy, and then it springs you back. So just feel the stability of the dantian and the tendency of the head to move. So when we're thinking to ourselves, the head has a real reluctance to move. So here we're just airheads, we're just lightheaded. And we just want to become aware of the two sacroiliac joints, because those are the ones that tend to get a bit stiff. So that either side of the sacrum. So just feel the structure of the legs. So you've got the feet, the shins, the thighs, and the two hip bones. And the two hip bones are a bit like two hands that are holding the sacrum. To release something, especially something that's been chronically held on to for so long, it's not just a physical adjustment, it's an emotional one. You're holding on for a reason. There's an emotion you don't really want to feel. And especially true of these joints, the sacroiliacs. So you just want the physical exercise to just start exposing that feeling and then just accepting it. Yeah, so when we operate from what we consider a place of stability within us. And this, working on the sacroiliacs really threatens that. So it's almost like you have nothing to spring from. So you just stay quiet. Wow. Okay. And now let's just go up and down a little bit. Just very easy. And just feel you want the up not to bring your energy up. Yeah. So you're going down. You squeeze the heels into the ground and let that bring you up. Down. And then just squeeze. Again, the mind in the sacroiliacs, that's where we're working today. Just trying to get a handle on them a little bit. Yeah, so you just keep on working until it becomes energetic. So by that, it means feeling like there are flows, something's flowing, rather than it just being mechanical movement. Something's flowing down and you're just going with it, and here something is flowing up and you're going with it. So here you're with the earth's energy, the sinking down energy, and here you're with the heavens energy, the rising energy. So you get to the point where it feels almost like it's not you doing it, something is doing it to you. Here the earth is pulling me, and here the heavens are pulling me. It's not the earth ejecting me, it's the heavens pulling me. So here, this is easy to feel because it's working on my mass. This is more difficult because it's working on my spirit. So if there's a lift and I just let myself go with it. Ooh. Yeah, so these two forces, gravity and like the anti-gravity of the heavens, the pull of the heavens, they're there all the time. It's just whether you want to connect to them. So they're always available. And then when we just stand, the idea is that we relax right to that point where the two forces are balancing each other. So what makes it difficult is that one force is working on my body and the other force is working on my energy. So my mind has to really sort of balance them. So this is what we call central equilibrium. So the balance of the yin and the yang, the balance of opposites. So when you're standing in riding horse, this is what, in a sense, you're aiming for. Just really relax, 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 get it to that point where these two forces are operating, but they're feeling like energies, they're feeling like flows of energy. Okay. And now let's just turn. Now here, as soon as we turn, we're introducing the centrifugal and the centripetal forces. And they have the similar effect that they separate out the body and the energy, if you like. So here the centrifugal is my body being thrown away from the center by the angular momentum, if you like. And then the centripetal is just the tendency of my mind to find that quiet space in the middle. And the tendency to just settle. So the natural state of the mind is to actually be quiet. Yeah, this is how completely unnatural we've become. So the mind just wants to rest. Yeah. So the mind wants to find this quiet place in the middle and just enjoy the body, just enjoy the feeling that the body is giving as it sweeps through the air. It's like Thich Nhat Hanh, yeah? I never know how to say his name, but he says, once you get into breathing, you realize there's nothing more enjoyable than just simply breathing. Yeah? And it's like here, there's nothing more enjoyable than just moving, turning, feeling yourself cutting a swathe, as John would say, carving through the air. So simple pleasures. And again, just feeling the sacroiliac. So just feel this side as you go into one leg, feel this side. So the full and the empty. As soon as we move side to side or turning backwards and forwards, then we're getting into full and empty. Okay. And now still turning, but doing this shape. And just the level of your dantian, so quite low. And again, just feeling the legs underneath the dantian. You want the legs to be really lively. So in a sense, the legs should feel more lively than your upper body. Your upper body is just loose and relaxed, and the legs have the life in them. Yeah, so you want to feel that these circles are real. You know, they're not just two circles that you're tracing, they're the limits of your movement, if you like. Yeah, so here I turn and I turn back and my arm is thrown out along it. Yeah, so it's as far as it can get. So there's a sense like I'm almost tracing the boundary of my territory to some degree. So here we'd like it to come in as close as possible and then here to come out as far as possible. All the time just feeling the sacroiliacs, the place where the two hands of the hips are holding the sacrum. So it feels like the hands are sort of serving, the hands are with the Dan Chen rather than with the heart or the head, which is where they're normally with. Just try and stay in the middle. You're just turning about a stationary spine, really. And then just back to this a bit. Okay. And now just back to like a low riding horse, so very much here. Yeah, so you just want to feel the mood of the Dan Chen. So it's very quiet, it's tough, almost like a mood of resignation almost. Okay, now let's just start a sequence of these, so just in and out. Again, mind in the sacroiliacs, trying to just feel them expanding a little bit. And then just towards each other, but the same level. Yeah, so try not to have the mind in the hands. There's something about the hands that's quite smug. It's quite interesting if you get someone to massage you with their feet. So the feet are just simple and they don't have a lot of cleverness in them. Yeah. So it's like the person touches you with like a deep honesty when they touch you with their feet. Their hands are manipulative. You know, their hands are trying things and the hands are over clever. So here just feel as though it's your elbows just moving in and out. So you're feeling the hands, but your mind's not in them. Your mind's in the elbows. So the elbows pull out, the elbows come in. So remember, we'd like to get the motor as far away from the actual moving part as possible. So eventually it's the danqian pulling and expanding that's doing this. But to get away from the hands, just feel the elbows. Remember John, you know, he would never show his feet. He always used to say the feet show people who you really are, whereas the hands hide who you are. So the hands are very much associated with the mind and the ego. Okay. So now just come back to the central equilibrium. So this feeling of just sinking and something rising up through you. So the balance to the sinking is not just your own physical strength. It's like a lift of optimism or hope through your body, which for John was sort of symbolized by the lift of the eyebrows. There's just something in you, way. Okay, and now let's just pace a little bit. So just very, very simple. Just letting the foot peel slowly off the ground. It doesn't even need to come up. Toes can stay stuck on the ground. But as you get into it, you just want to start to feel the two heels, one pushing down and one pulling up. So it's like a seesaw. One goes down, the other one comes up, the other one goes down, the other one comes up. So and then you just relax into it. And just let gravity do its work. So full and empty. So we've just split out, we've just separated the down and the up. So the down is in one side of my body and the up is in the other side. So feel the sacrum digging down into the heel. And then just start the foot coming off the ground. Ooh. So just imagine the puppet, the string puppet. Yeah, so the joints in the legs are so loose, gravity can just continue operating through you unimpeded. Ooh. Yeah, so by digging into the heel, it allows you to really lift the knee. Yeah, so it's just golden rooster. So just feel, with golden rooster, you do this sort of shape as the hand comes up. Yeah, so you're really yielding this side of the body and then attacking with this side of the body. One. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So again, just back. Okay, let's just try a few more of these. Okay, let's just try a few pulling the belly in. Yeah, so the min meng is just above the sacrum. And then the two sacroiliacs are either side of the sacrum. And then you have the little coccyx at the bottom. So it's like a diamond. Ooh. Okay. Okay, and now let's just try this again. But what we want is to get like real looseness in the arm. Yeah. So I turn and I throw the arm out. So it's, yeah, so it sort of gyrates. It's ooh. Yeah, so very much like a sort of bag of bones. It's very loose. So whoa, whoa. Yeah, so you can't design it. It's just too much to have any design. You just got to be loose and just start turning and just allow it. Yeah, so here the arm, in the same way that the leg was the feet, the shins, the thighs, and the hips. So think of the arm very much as the hands, forearm, upper arm, and the shoulders, the shoulder blades, yeah? So the shoulder blade is part of the arm, and the two shoulder blades are sort of holding the heart area, yeah? And so this is like a direct communication from my heart to my hand, yeah? So, yeah, so without the figures of eights, we'd never be able to do this. The figures of eights really sort of loosen things up. The young style, remember when John told me, I was really surprised, but he said, you know, young style practitioners are famous for being stiff. Yeah. So this is just really loose. Almost like you're just on the verge of losing control. Okay, and now let's bring the hands up to the heart. So it's sort of normal riding horse. And just feel that. Just feel how completely different the heart area is to the down chair. Yeah, so you're just feeling the trace of what we've just done. Yeah. So there's all this sort of like one of those Indian dances. Yeah. All this sort of lateral movement going on in the spine. And then just start the hands coming in and out a bit. Yeah, so in a sense, the arms, you know, they're the most relaxed parts of the body because they're just sort of hanging. They don't really have to do anything. It's not like the legs that are having to hold you up, so they're always going to be a little bit tense. Yeah, so, I mean, the problem with the hands is that, you know, they're a bit sort of clever, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, so the energy is being generated by the legs, and the legs are just allowing the energy to pass up the body, but the energy undergoes transformations, especially as it goes through the heart. So it becomes this sort of what Mac would have called Rococo movement as soon as it gets into the arms. Whoa. And then just in and out a few times. So just whoa. Yeah, so there's a feeling that the sort of these two dantians especially have like an intelligence, yeah. They've certainly got their own character, yeah. And then just bring a bit of stability into the arms, a bit of regularity, and just let that movement that we had here into the hips a little bit. So you've got all this sort of movement in the groin area, in the hips, this sort of loose. Yeah. So in the sense, the two centers, you know, they should have the same mobility. Okay. And now just maybe bring the hands back down and just feel this, yeah. You know, they're talking a lot now about the bicameral mind. So the mind that's basically split into two, like left brain and right brain, yeah. So I think in a sense, it's more interesting to think in terms of head brain and belly brain, yeah. So what we've learned to do is override everything with the head brain. Whereas this is actually giving us a hell of a lot of information about ourselves, you know, gut feelings, you know, all that sort of, you know, what John was really interested in a way, was what he called before. Yeah, so to suddenly have knowledge before the event. So what he called foreknowledge. Foreknowledge is the height of intelligence, yeah. And it's not the clever mind trying to anticipate. It's the gut just feeling those really deep energies that are just sending out messages a long time before the event has actually happened. You know, the way that birds and animals can sense the coming of an earthquake or something before it happens. So that feeling that you're just connected on a really deep level with this area. And what we would like is for them to communicate with each other. You know, so that so the messages from here are actually available to us. But that's only possible by learning to quieten this. Yeah, so the philosophers make a distinction between the world and reality. So the world is what we create with the mind, with the ego, and reality is what's beyond that construction. Okay, and now let's just try and get the same sort of looseness that we had in the arm, in the leg. Yeah, so this is a bit more difficult. So basically you just want, so you know the way we move in Tai Chi, where everything's very sort of controlled, we'd put the weight into this foot, empty this foot, step, and then move slowly into it. Yeah? So that's designed really to give our movement a sense of stillness, like there's a meditative stillness to the movement of the form. It has its flow, but within that it's still. Okay, so this is like the opposite of that. So instead of bringing the weight into this foot in order to step with this foot and then transferring the weight, what I want to do is just use my waist, the looseness of my waist, to just throw my foot around. Yeah? So as soon as it hits the ground, my weight is in it because I haven't brought the weight out of it. Yeah? So if I want to move this foot without bringing the weight out of it, you know, the way we used to do in the Dalu, you know, we just sort of do this. But if you look at it, you realize you're using your waist. Yeah? So you turn this way and then this way, and it throws the leg out. There's a sort of heave. Yeah. Okay, so let's just try. So it's difficult, yeah? So what we don't want to do is just put the weight into this foot and just step. So it's not this, yeah? It's just, you're sort of bringing the weight into the foot before you've really stepped with it. So there's like a real lag. There's almost like you're trying to get ahead of yourself. Like you're almost greedy. Yeah, so the foot is already there and the foot is already there. And you don't want to design it. So you want the feeling that it's all just coming from movement here, and you don't really care how the leg ends up. Yeah. The problem with design is that, you know, okay, you've got a design and that tends to be as far as you go. So the whole idea of this is that with practice, it will develop. Yeah. And just really feeling it here, yeah. Feeling the legs like two arms just hanging off your hips, and I've got to somehow throw it out the way I would throw this out. It's difficult with the leg because first of all, it's stuck on the ground, and secondly, it weighs a lot. And thirdly, it's as tense as fuck. And it doesn't really want to move. Yeah? So and again, it is more like a mood. It's almost like a mood of silliness. Yeah. So, and you just end up sort of the toes point in. It's like you've sent the foot around something, like you're embracing the same way. You know, here we would be embracing something with the arm. It's the same. It's gone around. Yeah. So it ends up with the toes pointing in a little bit. Yeah. So we're just trying to just free up the leg a little bit and see, you know, what parts of the mind that helps free up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it really if you can relax with it, it really gets into the sacrum. Okay, so basically the two places where, you know, in what I learned from John, where this happens is in the Dalu, you know, after we've done the first punch, and then somehow you need to yield here without bringing the weight into this foot. Yeah. So it's basically there, you know, you step and then here. Yeah. And then you come in for shoulder stroke, and then you yield to their slap, and then another one here. Yeah. So wherever you're stepping without bringing the weight fully into the other foot, you need this sort of looseness in the hips, yeah? Do you remember the Dalu? Let's just try it a little bit. Ooh. Yeah, so the right hand on the outside. So I should do the other side, shouldn't I? But can't be bothered. So step forwards. Now here, so it's like there's a looseness here. So it's whoa. It's that part there, and then you step to the corner for the shoulder stroke. And remember, someone yields to that and slaps. So you yield to the slap, and then there's another one here. You saw, as you yield, you enter in and pull, and that is in the leg. That's here. Yeah, ooh, you don't come out of the leg. Something has to happen to it, and then roll back, and then you yield to their shoulder. And then you come in and slap, and then it starts at the beginning again. So, ooh. Yeah, so there's something about this use of the foot, this sort of wriggle with the foot, that's actually just very naturally yieldy. So, ooh. Ooh. Yeah. And just keep everything really low. Yeah. So remember, we're just working on the hips, and so it's like you're working with a midget, yeah, or child, and so their hands can't get very high. So everything's relating to your dantian. Ooh. Ooh. And then 2 slaps to turn over, change over, and ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, so within a round, it happens sort of twice in the same foot. Ooh. Ooh. And okay. So now let's just come back to the standing a little bit and just feel that real sort of looseness in these 2 hip joints, but also in the sacroiliacs. Yeah, so they go together really. Yeah, so ideally you'd like to be able to just go into a handstand and just do the form, using your arms as legs and your legs as arms. So the legs should be able to take all of these shapes that your arms can take, and ideally your arms should be strong enough to support the body. In Tai Chi, if I want my legs to be strong and support my body without tension, then the arms would need to be strong as well. There's always that sort of correspondence. John used to call them correspondences. And for me, it just makes me feel like the octopus. I just, spend my spare time just watching octopuses on YouTube. That's how sad I am. They found a place where, because octopuses normally live alone, so they'd only see another octopus really when they come to mate. And but they found a place where there's like a village of octopuses, and they don't really have social skills, so they have to sort of learn them. And he showed one octopus going around just high-fiving his friends as he sort of goes through, and just very sort of, just so beautiful. Just the way a child will learn social skills. They only live a year. It's just a miracle, really, that they learn so much. So we've got this here, but we'd like this here to come from this here. And then it's just that sort of playful mind, like that Whitehead quote, the naivety. The evidence of poetry. It's such a beautiful phrase. So it's like, intimations of childhood. So remember that freedom. You weren't limited by a mind. Remember when we were kids and we went on holiday to Somerset? We stayed at Glastonbury. We stayed on the farm owned by the guy that used to run Glastonbury before Glastonbury was Glastonbury. This would have been like 71 or 72. And we had such a good time. Why can't we stay here? My dad says, I've got to go back to work. Why? Okay, so now let's just bring it back to attention posture. But always that feeling. It's always the feeling that it can break, it can drop. And then also the feeling that a fly settling on my body would start it turning. So just so loose in the hips. So real willingness to change. A willing to change your point of view, your vantage. So I twist here, suddenly the world is completely different than when I'm here. Because there's a different vision, there's a different view. So, and you can feel the emotional range that you need to let yourself pass through to just, for these two joints to sort of adjust to accommodate this movement. Yeah, it's big. Yeah, that's what we tend to lack when we grow up, is like emotional range. Yeah. We get stuck. We're stuck in our ways. Yeah, so all of that movement is there, and the head, light-headed, real settled feeling in the dantian. Sacrum spreading at the back, little coccyx dangling, ready to move around and cause mischief. Okay, very good. So let's finish.